On a quiet stretch of early dawn, when the city still slept under the pale orange glow of a rising sun, Officer Maren Kaeli felt the weight of a world she never spoke about pressing against her chest, as if the silence around her amplified every memory she had spent years trying to bury. It was during those fragile minutes, when the sky shifted from darkness to the first golden hint of daylight, that most officers felt alert, sharp, prepared. But for Maren, this particular morning felt strangely different, as though something unseen was preparing to rewrite her life. And standing just a few steps away, fastening her vest with the meticulous precision she always had, was Officer Rhea Solace, the partner Maren had worked with for 4 years, the woman whose steady presence had slowly become the only part of her days that genuinely felt safe. Maren's breath caught for a moment as she watched Rhea's silhouette in the sunrise, unaware that everything was about to change between them, quietly, unexpectedly, and permanently. If you're someone who believes in kindness, second chances, and the power of human connection, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps stories like these find more hearts. Their shift had technically been a night patrol, but it had carried them straight into the edge of morning, the kind of morning when the sky still held streaks of soft lavender. They drove the familiar routes through the quieter districts of the city, where most troubles didn't happen loudly but rather quietly, inside people's minds, behind locked doors, inside lonely hearts. Maren had always found comfort in these calm patrols. It gave her time to think, sometimes too much time. She was known in the department as the reserved one, the kind of officer who carried herself with impressive discipline but whose emotions remained tightly sealed behind her stoic expression. She wasn't unfriendly, she was simply careful. People disappointed her before, life had hurt her more than once, and she had grown used to the idea that opening up always came with a price. Only Rhea seemed to bypass those walls without trying, simply by being herself, warm, intuitive, observant, and quietly protective in ways she pretended weren't intentional. Rhea Solace was the type of officer who would stop patrol spontaneously just to hand bottled water to a street cleaner or check on a stray dog limping near a curb. She never said these actions were big, she just did them in a way that made the world feel softer. And though Maren tried to act indifferent, something about those acts shifted something in her every time. Maybe trust didn't need grand gestures. Maybe it was built quietly, over hundreds of small moments. That early morning, as they cruised along the riverway, Maren felt an ache in her chest she hadn't felt in years, an ache of longing, unspoken feelings, and a fear she couldn't name. She kept glancing at Rhea, wondering how she never noticed before how sunlight created a halo around her brown curls or how even exhaustion looked gentle on her face. The air felt heavy with something unnamed, something that wasn't there yesterday. But Maren didn't speak, didn't ask, didn't let herself dwell. Feelings were complicated, patrol was simple. As they continued along the district's final stretch before heading back, they noticed a woman standing at the edge of a pedestrian bridge, her back slightly hunched, her shoulders trembling. Rhea instantly slowed the car. Maren felt her pulse quicken. Something was wrong. They stepped out, and the full daylight now illuminated the woman's worn clothes, the nervous tremor in her hands, and the overwhelming sadness in her posture. She wasn't old, maybe in her early 30s, but life had clearly left deep bruises on her spirit. She gazed down at the river, her feet dangerously close to the edge. Maren felt her heart race. Not because the situation was new, they had both handled distressed individuals before, but because she sensed that this wasn't just routine. Something about the woman's stillness echoed her own hidden battles, the ones she pretended she didn't carry. Rhea, always calm, approached with slow, grounded steps, while Maren instinctively positioned herself slightly behind in case quick action was needed. The woman's shoulders shook as she whispered something to the wind. It wasn't clear, but the raw grief was unmistakable. Rhea's voice, even though gentle, held an anchor-like steadiness that could pull anyone back from the edge of despair. Maren found herself watching not just the woman, but Rhea, how effortlessly she radiated compassion, how the world seemed safer near her. Minutes passed like hours. The atmosphere grew tense, but Rhea managed to reach the woman with her sincerity, speaking softly, offering hope without making false promises. And something in the woman finally cracked open, not in a dangerous way, but in a releasing way, as tears streamed down her face and she let Rhea guide her away from the edge. Maren stepped in when needed, helping them move to a safer spot and arranging the necessary support services. When the woman was safely escorted to a crisis center, Rhea seemed emotionally drained but relieved. Maren's heart, however, felt shaken in ways she couldn't understand. As they returned to the car, the city now fully glowing with morning light, Maren felt a heaviness in her chest. Watching that woman struggle had awakened memories she thought she had buried, a past heartbreak, a betrayal, a love she once lost because she was too afraid to speak her truth. That fear still lived inside her, whispering that caring too deeply only led to pain. But Rhea made caring feel different, less like a risk and more like a fragile, precious possibility. The shift ended, and they parked near the station, sitting in silence for a minute longer than usual. Maren found herself studying the faint stress lines on Rhea's face, traces of a long night. The moment felt too intimate, too revealing, and Maren quickly looked away. Rhea simply smiled, unaware of the storm inside Maren's chest. And yet, as they walked inside together, Maren realized something subtle had changed in the way their eyes met, as though they were both sensing something but neither dared acknowledge it. All day, the memory of the woman at the bridge haunted Maren. Not as a tragic moment, but as a reminder of how fragile people were, how one moment of connection could pull someone back from the edge. And Maren wondered, for the first time in years, whether she herself had been living on a quiet emotional edge without noticing. Maybe feelings weren't meant to be locked away forever. Maybe it was okay to want comfort. Maybe even love. Over the next few weeks, everything between the two officers remained professionally identical but emotionally changed. Their patrol shifts had a new softness, an unspoken closeness, as though they both sensed something forming yet neither rushed it. Rhea seemed more attentive to Maren, noticing when she drifted into deeper thought or when the weight of her past tugged at her. Maren, on the other hand, started to open up, not in dramatic confessions, but in small moments. She shared pieces of her childhood, her passion for drawing, her late evenings sitting on her apartment balcony watching the city lights. And Rhea listened the way she listened to everyone, fully, without judgment, without the need to fix anything. Every sunrise patrol felt like a secret chapter between them, a story quietly writing itself. One morning, during another slow shift near the river district, Maren found herself staring at the same bridge where the woman had stood weeks earlier. It brought back the memory of Rhea's calm bravery, her compassion, her strength. Maren realized something important: she admired Rhea not just as a partner or a friend. She loved her. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, like sunlight gently warming a cold windowpane. She didn't know how to say it. Words weren't her strength. Vulnerability scared her more than any dangerous call or unpredictable situation. But standing there with the orange glow of dawn painting the sky, she felt her heart whisper the truth she could no longer deny. Something had changed inside her that morning on the bridge, and it wasn't going away. As days turned into weeks, Rhea began to sense the shifts too, the longer glances, the lingering pauses, the softer tone Maren used around her, the subtle way she drifted closer when they walked. And yet she didn't rush anything. She let the moments breathe, as though giving Maren time to find courage she didn't yet have. One late morning, after wrapping up paperwork from a long shift, Rhea gently touched Maren's arm, a simple gesture, but electric in its meaning. Maren's breath stilled. She felt the world slow, felt the room blur, felt every unspoken feeling in her chest rise like a tide. In that peaceful, sunlit silence, neither of them needed to say the words. The understanding passed between them effortlessly, like the soft exchange of a quiet promise. Maren felt an emotion she hadn't felt in years: hope, warm and safe and steady. Love didn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it came disguised as a partner on patrol, as a gentle morning, as small acts of kindness that stitched themselves into your heart. From that day forward, they didn't rush anything. They built something real, slowly, patiently, letting their bond deepen with each shared sunrise and each unspoken moment of trust. Maren learned to let herself feel. Rhea learned to let herself be loved in return. The city kept moving, life kept bringing challenges, but together they faced everything with a quiet strength that came not from duty, but from love. And every so often, when dawn broke across the river and painted the sky gold, Maren would look at Rhea and feel that same moment all over again, the moment when everything changed.